I want to go deeper into the news coming out of Syria because I think this is quite significant. And we've had 5 years, 5 decades rather, of brutal, tyrannical, dictatorial leadership from the Assad family. And it came to an end. And it surprised everyone. These Islamist rebel forces took control of the country's capital city, Damascus, on Saturday. So where's this headed? Who's in control? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Here in studio to discuss this, retired Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin, Executive Vice President here at the Family Research Council. General Boykin spent his last 4 years of his 36-and-a-half-year career in the military, in the Army, serving as Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence. He was also one of the original members of the U.S. Army's Delta Force. General, thanks for joining me.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
All right, so quite significant. I'm surprised. I guess not everybody was caught by surprise, but it sure looked like a lot of people were surprised by this, that this was kind of like the junior varsity team that came in there and just threw Assad out. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it has the potential to be a very good thing, but it also has the potential to go the other way and to be create more problems than already exist in that part of the world. It depends on where the leadership of this HTS, as they call themselves, where the leadership aligns itself. Who do they align themselves with? They have, up to this point, they have rebuffed ISIS, and so that's a good thing. But that's new, too. That's also new. The leader of this HTS is a guy named Jalali, and he has a history of being associated with ISIS and other terrorist groups, but he has distanced himself from them now, and I think that was necessary. So I think it could be good, and I hope that it is, but there's always a chance that it won't.
Now, our attention turns to the Christians. Assad, in some ways, kind of, I wouldn't say protected them, but he left them alone. There was some security there. And then in the last decade, as his regime came under more opposition, we've seen Turkey moving in. We've seen the civil war taking place there. Christians have become more vulnerable. What are they looking at now?
Yeah, well, that's another one of those things where only time will tell, but this is the way I see that. I think that the last thing they want to do is alienate the United States. And when you go after the Christians, don't ever ask the United States for funding or support or a vote in the UN, because you're not going to get it if you're over there persecuting the Christians. And the Bashar al-Assad, he allowed them to be in his legislature. Now, he was an awful man, and we're seeing now with what's coming up out of some of the ground, which is people that they thought were dead, and they've now found that, no, they were in prison underground. So that ought to tell you something about what Assad was like.
So lay out the kind of the chessboard, if you will, and the pieces. I mean, we've got a lot of Islamist groups operating in the Middle East. Who is who? Who's really pulling this, driving this?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I would say this. I'm not so sure that we didn't have some covert action going on in there to train and equip these people. I don't know that for a fact, but it would not surprise me if we didn't have a CIA hand in this. And God bless them, they did a good job. But you got to know who your enemy is too. And
we've been down that path before.
Yeah, we have had that happen before, especially in.
Hopefully, we didn't leave too many weapons in their hands.
That's exactly right. And we spent a lot of money when I was over at CIA trying to get back some Stingers that we sent. We gave them.
Afghanistan.
And that was bad. We don't need to do that again.
So what does this mean for Israel?
I think the Israelis, first of all, they have already put troops into the buffer zone there to try and protect their interest. I think this is a good thing for the Israelis. If it goes well, it's a good thing for them. I think there can be some negotiations, and I think that the king of Syria will probably be right in the middle of that. I think that he will try to broker some kind of agreement between them, but we'll see.
With Assad, his regime falling, and of course bordering right there with Israel, this, I think, would give them the opportunity not only to occupy this buffer zone, but to eliminate threats in that region.
That's exactly right.
So you think Jordan steps in to try to be a mediator?
I think the United States will ask Jordan to be the mediator. I'm not sure that it's something they want to do, but our president has already talked to the king of Jordan and discussed what the future holds, and they didn't share much in the media, but so I think that we are going to ask them to do some negotiations with regards to what's happening there. And he's a capable guy. I actually know him, believe it or not.
Yeah, I've actually met with him a couple of times. I'm encouraged by the stability, relatively speaking, in that part of the world. Yeah. General, we're out of time. Always great to talk with you. Hopefully, maybe later this week, we'll unpack this more as it begins to develop.
Good to be with you.